Smith, and welcome to another edition of Nature's Realm. Now today I'm not going fishing, but I am heading to Ballarat, and I'm going to meet up with a person of particular note. He's a fly fisherman and an artist, and his work is just unbelievable. The person I'm referring to is Ian Scott. Now Ian Scott has been fly fishing for over 40 years, I suppose, maybe more, and he also does wildlife art, and he pays particular attention to birds in the wild, and his paintings of these birds are just sensational. He also does paintings of trout, and they're fantastic. I've got a few of them up on my wall. And not only that, but Ian is a capable fly fisherman. He ties his own flies, and what we're going to do today is I'm going to interview Ian. We're going to talk about fly fishing, we're going to talk about his artwork, and on the fly fishing side of it, I hope everyone learns something from it. We all can learn something from other people. There's no two ways about that. That's the great thing about fly fishing. We're always learning, and we'll never know it all. But we can keep striving to get that knowledge that'll make us better fly fishermen. So I'll see you again when I arrive at Ian's place, and we can meet up and say hello. See you shortly. Well, g'day Ian, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks very much, Bruce.
Right, we've got Ian Scott here, who is a fly fisherman and an artist of particular note. His artwork is absolutely fantastic, and we're going to do an interview with Ian right now. And so Ian, first of all, how you been going? Good?
Yeah, been very good. I've got over my sickness over Christmas with my pneumonia.
Yeah.
I'm much better, and I've been out, had a bit of a fish. The lake is a bit quiet at the moment, but no, I'm good.
Great, excellent. That's good news. Now, I thought, and what we'll do firstly is talk about your fly fishing ventures and your history in regards to fly fishing. And then we'll talk about your artwork after that. So, in regards to fly fishing, when did you first start fly fishing? And if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I probably started when I was about 14, 15, taking fishing series. So Andrew, my eldest brother, is another year older than I. Most people know Andrew. We used to go with my dad fishing every weekend to Lauriston or Malmesbury, sometimes up to Goulburn, and like most kids, we started off just spinning and bait fishing, and saw a couple of fly fishermen, decided, we might give that a try, went and bought some cheap gear, and I've been doing it ever since, so about 14 years old.
Okay.
My first proper experience was in the Goulburn, when we had, just before closing season, an English gentleman I used to work with introduced me properly to fly fishing.
Okay.
He lent me a rod and went up to Goulburn, and my first fish was 6.5 pound brown.
Oh, beautiful.
On a dry fly. And
Okay.
these are all spawning fish, and I'm quite surprised that they actually took a dry There's the man who first taught me, and sadly I don't remember his name. It was such a long time ago. We worked together in South Melbourne for a printing company, and I don't even know if he's still in Australia, but he was brilliant. He had a split cane rod.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it was heavy as.
Yeah.
See, you need 2 hands to cast it. It was that heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he introduced me to fly fishing, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. Now, you were born in Scotland, is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you do any fly fishing when you were in Scotland as a boy, or
No.
Didn't happen until you've come to
No,
Australia?
it didn't happen until we came to Australia. Look, and even in Scotland, as kids, we used to get on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a car back then. We got on the bus, and you go for a 5 or 6 kilometre ride on the double-decker bus and drop you off with your fishing gear. And we had a beautiful river called the Avon, which had a 2-tier waterfall, which we just sit there with bait, worms and stuff, and catch browns and rainbows.
Beautiful.
And just before closing season again, watch them all come up to the spillway and try and get up the 2-tier spillway and head off upstream to spawn. And really nice to watch. A few people went out and netted the fish that were hanging there illegally. So the ranger up on top of the hill just come down and caught them all and booked them and fined them and banned a few people for life.
Jeez.
So it was pretty strict punishment in Scotland and England for poaching fish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Not
definitely.
so much here, but there's good
still
fines
is though,
there.
isn't it, over there?
People have been banned for their entire life.
And I remember you mentioned once that you used to collect bird eggs. I found that interesting with the bird eggs.
Yes, that was a little hobby of mine as a kid.
Tell us a bit about that.
Well, a few bad experiences. I had probably 120, 140 different eggs in my collection, from sparrows to thrushes. And my last egg was a white swan that proceeded to beat the crap out of me when I took its egg. Sadly, we lost a friend. He was 10 years old, and he climbed a pylon, electricity pylon, to get an eagle's egg, and he fell, and he hit the ground from a great height, and he died instantly. He fell on a friend of mine who broke his fall and broke his shoulder and arm, but he still died when he hit the ground. So he broke his fall, but he still died.
Yeah, still.
So my egg collecting days had basically stopped then, because it frightened all of us.
Now, I know we're going to talk a little bit more about your artwork where you do a lot of birds. With collecting those eggs, and did you get a fascination with birds back then, which still sort of like lasts to this day?
I've always liked birds. I've always liked birds of prey.
Yeah.
I think because of the way they're built, the way they fly, what they have to do to get a meal. We have a few around here. I've been searching in Australia for one in particular for years and years and years, never been able to come across one until I moved up here to Newland. And one landed on my apple tree about 2 months ago. It was a collared goshawk. And I've been searching since I came to Australia when I was 10 for one of these birds, and I only just saw one, and I'm 66 now.
Wow.
And I only saw one a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And it sat on the apple tree for about 5 minutes outside the garage. Didn't move, and I just sat there watching it. And I didn't have a camera or anything with me.
Yeah, right.
Sad. Not even my phone, it was inside getting charged.
Jeez.
So look, birds have always been in my life. From collecting eggs to enjoying watching them fly around. And we've got lots of garden birds here.
Yeah.
A lot of different parrots and stuff. So I've still got a fascination for them, and I enjoy painting them.
So let's now take a bit of a fast forward to probably when you were more independent. You had probably your own car and such. What was your favourite destination in Victoria for fly fishing? What would that have been?
Well, after obtaining my licence and then getting me a hand-me-down car, which is a E.H. Holden, from my dad to my eldest brother, and I was next in line, so it was still reasonably good when I got it.
Yeah.
My favourite destination was Goulburn River.
Yeah.
At the breakaway.
Yeah, it's been mine as well.
And from the 80s and 90s to the early 2000s, I could still go there and catch fish on a regular basis from £3 upwards. Now, sadly, it's not the case.
Now, I want to interject there. Were you fly fishing when we had a closed season and rules and regulations where you couldn't actually fish during, a closed? We had a closed season.
Yeah, we had a closed season on the rivers, and then we went up to either here.
What was the fishing like when? And this is going back to the days of the, a van used to take people up to the Golden River, and they used to book into the Rubicon Motel, and it was a big sort of like celebration on the opening day. That's going back probably to what, the 60s or something like that.
Yeah, 60s, 70s.
70s, yeah.
Mid 80s. Then we had open season all year round.
Yeah,
and that went on for about probably 10, 15 years.
Yep.
And then they changed the law again, which we have now.
Yeah.
But in between the open season for that length of time, the fish were still there and they were still big.
Yeah.
But looking at the fish now, in hindsight, nearly all them fish came from the hatchery, and they were dumped into the river to supplement holiday seasons and everything else. These are ex-brood fish. They can't use them anymore.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do with them? Oh, we'll just put them in the river. They've got a better chance of maybe still having one more spawn left in them, and a lot harder to get because there was more room to move around. Upstream or downstream or whatever. You're not going to get all of them. I've seen fish up to 18 pound in the river back then, and on average you could catch 3 pound fish every day.
Yeah.
5 of them. Take your bag limit.
Yeah.
Take a couple home for dinner. Look, they weren't the prettiest fish. Some had tails, some didn't. Some had fins, some didn't.
Yeah.
But the fact that there was a multitude of them, it kept you going. Little red tag at night time, that's all you ever had in your box is a little red tag. Put it out there and you guarantee you get yourself 5 fish. From 3 pound to 18 if you were lucky. The big fish.
Yeah, exactly.
There's lots of them. Now it's not the case.
Yeah, it's not the case now, exactly.
So that was my favourite spot.
Yeah. Now, coming back to today with the Goulburn River, it's been my experience that the greatest sort of like destruction of the Goulburn River fishery is the sedimentation build-up of the river. I was just wondering if you've got any agreement to that, or if you think otherwise, what basically has made the fishing decline, or before the open season was reintroduced.
Yeah, look, I've got two thoughts going on here that may have contributed to the decline of decent fish coming out of it.
Yeah.
Well, possibly 3 reasons. First one is the amount of dredging they'd done back in the 80s and 90s for gravel.
Yes.
And which in some places changed the river course completely.
Yeah.
And sent all that rubbish downstream. So a nice shallow bed suddenly became 30 foot deep.
Yeah.
Because they just kept dredging out all the gravel because they needed it for roads and gardens and everything else.
Yeah.
So that's one reason you had a decline, because there was no more places for fish to go other than a big deep hole, and there's no food in it. Can't spawn in it. Secondly, when they stopped putting hatchery fish in, they allowed the river to produce its own.
Yes, exactly.
Right, and what happened is they had to have a boost to start off with, so they introduced, let's say, argument's sake, 20,000 small browns and rainbows, right? More so browns, into the river system. And from that moment on, every year they'd put another couple of thousand here, a couple of thousand there. And I feel like they put way too many in, and it stunted the growth, because they're all trying to compete for the same food source, the same level of oxygenated water, the same gravel beds to spawn if they ever became decent, size-wise.
Yep.
Mature enough to spawn. So they're the reasons I think it has declined. Also the fact that they stopped putting bigger fish in from the hatchery and they allowed the open season to be open for way too long, that it cleaned all the big fish out.
Yeah.
Right, big fish just disappeared rapidly because every year, doesn't matter what day it was, you could go fishing. Now we can't. The numbers might come back.
Well, I think they are actually coming back, and
not that I go there because it's too far for me now.
Yeah,
I'm a 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
But look, I try and get there at least once before the Queen's birthday weekend comes, before it's closed.
Yeah.
And they have at least one fish near the. And I find that if you're game enough to go to your favourite spot and just keep walking away from everybody else, you'll find better fish.
Yeah.
You'll find waters that you've never touched before, and because there's no fishing pressure, there's not a great sense of choice of fly you need to pick, right? Because these fish don't see people, they don't see flies, so if it looks edible, they'll probably take it. So you got to walk a fair distance to get away from the madding crowd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's get on to fly fishing lakes. What's your favourite lake, or number of different lakes? It might be more than one. But what sort of lakes do you favour now?
Well, the one I'm sitting on at the moment.
Yes, that's right.
Well,
tell the people that you're now living in this area.
I live in Newland North now, and the lake is 2 minutes from my house.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's
on reasonable good weather, I'm there twice a day.
Yeah.
I've seen. Look, I know the lake's still got plenty of big fish in it because I see them every time I go over, jumping for dragonflies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've seen fish up to 10 pounds jumping out of the water. There's probably bigger ones out in the middle. You just can't judge the size of them because they're so far away, but they look big from where I am in the bank.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough that because Newlands is not far from Melbourne, I still get to fish with my good friends like yourself, John, Norm, Ralph, and a few others, Chris. Mick Budger and such. I still get to fish with all them because it's not that far away for them to come up here.
That's right. Yeah.
So I still retain all my friends, and I've got a really good fishery in front of me. Autumn seems to be a better time now.
Yeah.
I found last autumn I ended up with more fish. Through summer, no, too hot. We've had days up here at 40 degrees lately.
Yeah.
And it's just too hot.
Yeah, it's too hot.
You know, and fish are sitting on the bottom. The water temperature was up to 19, 21 degrees.
Yeah.
You know, so that not even insects are coming out. They don't even like that weather.
Now, getting on to insects, what is your favourite hatch? Now, for me, fishing Newlands Reservoir, I love the mayfly hatch, but there's a number of different hatches of different insects, both aquatic and terrestrial. What's your favourite insect hatch here on Newlands?
Newlands for me is the caddis hatch, because it produces more insects than mayfly. And mayfly in Newlands for me there's two types. Look, I've seen lots and lots of spinners, and I can only deduce from myself lots and lots of spinners, but I haven't seen any duns during the day. So I've got a dun hatch at night time here. Same at Wombat Reserve. All the duns hatch at night time.
At night time?
I don't see them through the day. Nothing feeding on them through the day. You come the next day and there's spinners everywhere.
Yep.
Where they all come from? They've been hatching out at night time.
That's right.
And I believe there's a species in Newlands that do the same.
Yep.
But for caddis, they're there all the time. You can see them swimming around, little brown and flicking around.
And it's interesting that you make mention of that. The mayfly hatches even on the Goulburn River. There's a lot of different species of mayfly on the Goulburn River, and a lot of them actually hatch at night time.
Yeah.
And what's to say it doesn't happen, on the lake? So it's definitely something that we need to sort of look at a bit more.
Well, I worked it out at Wombat, and there's good fish still in Wombat. The biggest I've got out of there is 5 pound.
Beautiful fish.
Took a grasshopper.
Yeah.
Off the high bank on the far side. But obviously tons of red spinners, but I've never seen any duns hatch through the day. So Tom and I, friend of we fished through till dark, and we found duns at night time. Just on dusk.
Yep.
They start hatching out, and they obviously go through till dark and beyond.
Yeah.
And caddis out at the same time, so fish are feeding on both species.
Mm.
But caddis and newlands are little flat brown buggers.
So what's your favourite fly for a caddis hatch?
Well, I tie my own just a little flat CDC, so 4 feathers, 4 CD. So on the tie it's sort of a rusty brown coloured body, which is very thin, like cigar shaped. And over the top of that I tie in 4 CD feathers, one on top of each other, and tie them in and then pull them forward till they all come bunched together, and then just tie it down, tie it off. No hackle. And so that the CD is just hanging over the end of the hook, and unless it's so flat that I can't see them in the water unless it's still. And most caddis hatches I get at Newlands, the water is still as it's mill pond.
Yeah.
I don't see very many in a ripple. And they're quite easily to identify, so the lake will look like it's raining.
Yeah.
There's just little dimples everywhere as they're all bulleting themselves out the water.
It's incredible, isn't it? Yeah.
You know, and they look lots of elk hairs in the lake too, but they don't seem to eat them. They eat the little brown ones that you can't see. But everybody's fooled because
they only see the
elk hairs are bigger, and there's probably a little bit more of them. And everybody thinks that they're eating elk hairs. They're not. They're actually eating the little flat brown ones.
Yeah, brown
probably half the size.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my best fly and my best hatch at this lake.
Right now, I feel this is probably a silly question, but a lot of people ask this question. If you only had one fly, what would it be, or what would you fish with?
If I only had the one fly to choose out of a box of millions that everybody seems to carry in there, we do. We carry way too many flies. My box now has 5 different flies in it, and that's it.
Okay.
And I'll probably only use 3 of those 5. If I had to pick one fly, and if I was stuck in one particular spot, if I was stuck in Tasmania, I'd be my only fly I'd use in my box would be a black spinner. If I was stuck at Newlands, I'd be caddis. A dry would be the only thing I'd have in my box.
Okay.
A dry brown caddis.
All right. Now, what would be, if a beginner come up to you and he said, Ian, what's the one technique I can do that's going to improve my fly fishing? What technique would you give to that, or what advice would you give there? With what technique, or some type of fly fishing sort of like skill?
Look, there's one thing I think everybody should think of when they take up fly fishing. If you're going to learn, and you ask people, if you find somebody who's willing to help you, I think the best advice I could give you is stick to that one person. Don't go to multitudes, because we've all got different ideas of how to cast. We've all got different ideas of what is the best fly to use, and we've all got different ideas of where fish are going to be sitting in a lake or a river or whatever. We've all got different views on these things. If you find somebody who's willing to help you, stick to that one person. That'd be the only advice. And then lots of practice. Get out in your backyard and just keep casting. And it's like golf swinging, right? It's all timing. The more you do it, the more muscle memory you end up with. So it becomes second nature. Like you and I cast really well, and we don't think about what we're doing when we're casting. We just do it. Because we've been doing it for so long that my brain and my memory and my muscles, my arm know exactly what to do. And that's all through practice. The more you practice, the more you're going to get better at it, and the less you have to think about it. The less mistakes you make, and the more fish you'll catch. And if you don't have a fly in the water, you're not going to catch a fish.
That's it.
So learning to cast accurate and fast are probably your best weapons that you can have, especially in a hatch. Accurate and fast. So pick it up, put it down, catch a fish. Release it, catch another one.
Okay, good. Okay, Ian. Let's now talk about your artwork. Now, I've got some drawings up on my wall of the drawings you've done on trout, and they're just fantastic. Let me tell you right now, they are absolutely works of art. You know what I mean? the other paintings that you do of the birds, and they're just absolutely fantastic. Let's pick one up, say here, and just show the viewers. Oh no, we'll actually do that a little bit later on. Oh yeah, you got that one? Yeah. Okay. So there's just one example of a beautiful bird. What type of bird is that one? No,
Finch.
There's a finch. So let's just get. And I'm going to put up some more as we go along, different paintings that Ian's done as we talk. So so I want to talk now about your. How did you get into drawing these magnificent birds and trout and so forth? Where did it all start?
Well, as a child at school, I always enjoyed scribbling and drawing, and my uncle, when I was a kid in Scotland, was a very good drawer, a pencil drawer, and I used to sit and watch him, and my dad was not too bad, so probably got a few skills from either of them. Didn't really take it serious until I came to Australia, so I grew up a bit more. I had a friend who was an art restorer, so he used to get old paintings from the museum and stuff, and he'd restore them, so clean them up and repaint.
Yeah.
And I was watching him one day, and he said, "Look, do you want to learn how to do this?" I said, "All right, why not?" So I did a very 8x8 tiny little painting, cleaned it up and repainted it, and yeah, I've been doing it ever since. I just loved the fact that I had achieved something. Look, my very first paintings were rubbish. Half of them went in the bin. I gave my mum one, and it was an old scene of an English bridge, and there were some people standing under it.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
No, well, I thought it was, but
Yeah.
if I look at it now, I could describe the person underneath as one of them little Toby jugs.
Oh,
You know, the little jug where it looked like a person.
Yeah,
He looked like one of them.
Okay.
Right? Pretty pathetic, but you know, and again, like fly fishing, what I do now in my art is all put down to practice.
Yes.
So paint every day, fish every day,
Yep.
you'll end up with the same results. You can only get better.
Yeah.
And unless you go back to doing what a lot of people I've noticed over the years do is, now I found somebody, like I've learned off a really good fly fisherman, right? But I've learned off other people as well.
Yes.
through my life, the same as yourself.
Yeah.
But I've always gone back to listening to one or two people.
Yeah.
So pick the best that's willing to offer you information, use that, and then stick to them. Otherwise you're going to end up with a lot of bad habits. And bad habits are very hard to get out of when you're fly casting.
Yeah.
You learn from the wrong person, or listen to 5 or 6 people,
Yes.
and taking a bit from him, a bit from him, a bit from him, and then try and put it all together. It doesn't work. Right? Casting and the equipment you have, is personal choice, or these days budget conscious. Right? Whatever you can afford is what you buy. Casting is timing and practice, and if you got that timing and you practice a lot, which for me goes fishing every weekend.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you're lucky like me and retired, fishing every day.
Yeah.
You've got to get better at it.
Yeah. So with your artwork, did you ever go to school or go to any sort of like paid institute where you actually learnt, or was it just from those few friends and self-taught?
Yeah, one good friend who's an art teacher and an art restorer, and the rest is all self-taught.
Wow, that's incredible.
So it's just look.
And what mediums do you actually do?
Well, what you've got in front of you now, all in.
That's watercolour, yeah.
It's a watercolour-based paint. It's called gouache.
Right.
A couple of small still lifes are in chalk, which is pastels.
Yep.
And the rainbow is in watercolour.
Yep.
And they're all done on sandpaper.
Right.
Of all things, it's an art manufactured sandpaper for pastels, but I find it takes watercolour better than it does pastels. The colours stand out a lot better, and it adheres to the paper a lot better too.
It seems like it absorbs it, doesn't it?
It absorbs it, but it doesn't. The paint I use is removable.
Okay.
Where watercolour, acrylic, and oil are not, without scraping the crap out of them.
Yeah.
This one, if you had to drop any water on any of these paintings now, the paint would just run and disappear.
Yeah.
It's an advertising paint.
Yeah.
We used to use it for posters back in the day.
Okay.
Whenever you're doing posters for the shop window or something, or the Herald Sun or whatever, do a poster, this is the paint they use.
You know, actually my father, he was a commercial artist.
And that's what he would have used.
And yeah, it looks exactly the same as what he used.
It was all paint. It was manufactured purposely for advertising.
Yeah, advertising. Yeah.
Yep. And that's the only reason I use it, because it's so good to use. If I make a mistake, which is rare, but I still do them, I just touch it with a bit of water, tissue, and it's gone, and I repaint over top of it.
Beautiful.
Where if I do that with watercolours, I'd be there forever trying to get the stain out of the paper.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, look, I love my art, and I'll never stop until the day I pass on.
That's it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's incredible. Now you will, from this day onwards, you were saying to me that you will, if people request a photo of their favourite trout that they catch, that if they send it to you or deliver it to you, you will draw that trout for them as a service. Is that, am I correct in saying that?
Yes, so, anybody who, rather than get it mounted on a board, which I disagree with, having to kill the poor fish, just if you're going to kill it, eat it. Don't kill it mounted on the wall.
Yeah. If
you want a record, just take a good photo. Or better still, come and see me, and I'll paint it to scale.
Yeah, and then you've got.
So if your fish is 23 inches long, that's how big your painting is going to be.
Yeah.
It'll be 23 to 29 inches long.
Fantastic.
Once you take the frame and everything else into consideration, it'll be fully framed, ready to hang on your wall for a set price.
Yeah.
Depending on how big the fish is. I'm not worried about whether it's a brown or a rainbow. Both trout look much the same to me, just the colour difference.
Yeah.
It's the size of the fish that will determine the price you pay. Right? But don't bring me a photo of a 6-inch rainbow, because I'm not going to paint it, seriously.
Yeah.
A 6-inch rainbow. Give me something that's £2 plus.
Exactly.
You know, or the biggest fish you've ever caught in your life, which should be £10 over.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the dream of all fly fishermen, is to get double-figured fish.
Well, yeah.
Which I've managed a couple in my life.
Yeah.
You know.
That's incredible. Yeah. So
So everything to do with my art is for sale.
Yeah.
Right. From my fish to my birds. I also, on request, make travel fly boxes, which I will only make on request. I'm not going to waste my money and effort for making 10 or 15 of them if nobody wants to buy them. So if you want one at a particular size, fully laden, with all good hardware in it, magnetic lids and foam and everything else ready to go. And if you need your name or whatever engraved in it, happy to do that. Or inlay any fish or dun or whatever, your favourite fly, inlay it with veneer.
Yeah,
happy to do that.
I've seen your fly boxes; they're absolutely beautiful.
You know, so
and you do picture framing as well as
I do picture framing as well, mainly for myself, but anybody else who needs any, you know, if you pick up any prints or anything anywhere and you want framed, just come and see me.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll always find me at Newlands in the first gate. Turn left.
That's
it.
A
little bay. That's where I'm. A white.
Yeah.
Just look for a little white station wagon.
Exactly.
And you'll find me.
Yep. All right. Well, Ian, I think that basically covers it all. Thank you very much for this interview and allowing me to visit your home here out of Ballarat with your partner Judy and so forth. It's been a fantastic interview, so thank you very much.
No, thank you.
No worries.
Thank you very much, Bruce.
No worries, Ian. All right, so I will have a link description in the description section on the YouTube, where you can email Ian with any of your requests for paintings of your trout that you may catch, or if you want to show some interest in the fly boxes or get a picture framed, Ian will do that. So you just need to go to that link there and it'll be all there. So until next time, talk to you later. Bye bye.